I'm Mermaid Tales, and today I'm back with another pick a card reading. The theme of this pick a card reading is going to be messages from your ancestors. But before I get started with this reading, I would love to invite you all to connect with me on my Instagram page, which is at Mermaid Tales 5335. So as you can see, this reading is broken down into 3 piles. I have some cards on the table, and then I'm also going to pull some separate cards from the postcards from Spirit Oracle Live. So here's pile number 1, pile number 2, and pile number 3. I'll go ahead and get started with pile number 1. Hello and welcome to everyone attracted to pile number 1. This is going to be your reading about messages from your ancestors. So you were attracted to this reading with this cheetah card. It says, get clear on your intentions, stay focused, and move quickly to achieve your goal. So I feel like your ancestors are just quite directly giving you a message to stay focused. Some of you, I wonder if it's like you're about to start something new, or you've just recently started something new, and all of that sort of momentum, momentum can feel like a very intense, almost passionate kind of energy. So people who really get sort of caught up on those moments, like who really celebrate, when they achieve or their path to achieving something, after you sort of have that big achievement, because all that energy, that passion, all of that went into it, it can make you want to go back into something like that again. So for you all, I feel like, again, either you're about to start something new, and this is telling you to make sure you're staying focused on whatever it is that you're working on, that where your passion lies. Or some of you, this could be something that already happened, and I don't know, maybe your eyes are starting to wander, or maybe you're wondering if there's something better, or if this is really going to work out. For many of you, maybe not for all of you, depending on, because I feel like there's almost a duality with some of you who you achieve something big, and some of you where you're like waiting to achieve something big. And this is going to depend on whether or not what I say next resonates, but I feel like there is almost like this stagnant energy, like when someone has to decide on a lot of things and it's easier for them to push off making a decision, period. Or when you're about to close up and finish something, and it's like you put so much effort and energy into the whole thing, just closing it, can seem like such a big thing. Some of you, it could be like a really focused attention to detail, right? Because I get, almost this energy of some of you needing to focus in more, but some of you needing to stay focused on, let's say, the bigger picture, right? So staying focused in this situation does not necessarily mean that you're focusing in on one thing. Some of you are too fixated, too focused in on one thing, and it's making it hard to see the bigger picture. It's making it hard to either move past the finish line or to keep that momentum up after you have finished past that finish line already. So very interesting how the energy is coming out for you already. Let's see the next card for messages from your ancestors. So you all actually had 2 cards from the messages from the Animal Spirits Oracle come out. So you could have a very strong connection to animals. Your ancestors could have a very strong connection to animals. I feel like especially birds, or any kind of ancestors, like the higher beings, the winged beings kind of ancestors. So I feel like there's more information that wants to come out for that. But I feel like what this is telling me is, just really quickly, many of you may have a message to connect more with your ancestors, to figure out your ancestry, whether that's, I think what I found a lot of humans to do is they can try to figure out their physical ancestry, but they don't kind of try to figure out their spiritual ancestry. Just because this vessel that you're in has a certain ancestry does not mean that you're bound by that, because you're more than this human body, right? Like, you are the multidimensional, interdimensional soul embodying this human body. So for many of you, this is telling you to connect with your ancestors on all spectrums. Some of you, your ancestors may have been trying to just give you messages, and it could be like messages through birds, seeing a special kind of bird, or having some kind of connection with a winged animal like that. It doesn't just have to be, like a bird. because even it's making me think of penguins or something, you know, like they have wings too. So focusing more so on like on the wings. I feel like you all have some kind of ancestry or some kind of connection. So this card is Mountain Goat. It says there's something out of balance in your life, so do whatever you need to correct it. So for me, this almost goes into the staying focused card, like what it is that you're focusing your attention on. Now, when this is saying that there's something out of balance in your life, for me, this feels like your ancestors are telling you that there's something vibrationally out of balance. This does not have this for me. This does not mean that there's something out of balance internally. For me, there's something out of balance in your outer world. So you all may be vibrating at a new level and you're still in an old environment. So that's something that could be distracting you from staying focused on whatever it is you're working towards. And again, some of you may have been out, you may have already accomplished something, and maybe that means that you're in a new environment. Maybe you got a promotion, maybe you're moving to a higher position in your job, maybe you changed jobs, you know, maybe new colleagues came in, you know, however this resonates, or, you know, because even it doesn't just have to be work, this could be like for students as well. However this is resonating in your life, for me, this is saying that there's something vibrationally out of balance. So either you are vibrating at a higher level than the people around you, or the people around you are vibrating at a higher level than you, and you are being called to match the level that they are vibrating at. Now, when I talk about vibrations, a lot of this has to do with your spiritual journey, your healing, your level of ascension, how conscious, how aware you are, and by awareness, how much knowledge you've been collecting. So again, you're going to come into this reading with different levels of awareness, and that's going to impact what environment you're supposed to be in. Because for some of you, you could have gotten a promotion into like some kind of job, or maybe you get accepted into some kind of school, and the people there, their awareness is just a lot more expanded than yours. Some of you could have joined some kind of spiritual community, or maybe had some kind of spiritual awareness, and you're seeing like levels of awareness of consciousness that you may not have known before. And again, to try to make it more practical, this could even be mentoring, or like sort of being a mentee or interning, you know, just being around people who are pretty esteemed in some kind of way, and you're being called to match their frequency. That's a really good situation to be in. You know, that's the kind of situation when you can let the other people around you inspire you. You know, it's so interesting because I was just having a conversation with someone about jealousy, and for me, jealousy is a low vibration form of inspiration. I think all emotions come with a high vibration and a low vibration, and then we give them different words. For me, when you have someone and they're like the embodiment of who you want to be, humans can go one of two ways. They can either be jealous of that person, or they can be inspired by that person. How they perceive that person is totally up to them. You know, whoever this person is that's you know, that may be in your environment, how you perceive that person. Again, if you're in an environment and you just feel like the people around you are so great, you can be inspired to match their vibration. Because if you go to the low vibration, if you become jealous, or jealousy sort of sees competition when people feel like they have to compete with other people. You know, this is something you've seen happen a lot with the female race, where females are really programmed to compete with one another. You know, sort of like it's a competition, and looking a certain way is a competition, and everyone's sort of tweaking themselves to become more competitive. You know, it's very old programming that we are stepping out of, but some of you, your ancestors are just telling you that whatever resonated from what I just said, your ancestors are telling you that this is something that you're standing out of. Because something about the mountain goat is so adaptable. The mountain goat can climb mountains that most people can't, right? So you have the ability to climb, because something that you can do, I feel like pile number one, is you can go into an environment and the people around you may be vibrating at a higher level in the way that I just explained before, and you can adapt to that vibration, right? Because you can be inspired by certain qualities and adapt to that vibration. So soon you're vibrating at that level, you can be ready to move on to the next one, right? It doesn't mean that you have to stay stuck. And I feel like that's the kind of people you are. You have the ability to really move up and up and up and up in life. So however you do is completely up to you, right? Because not everyone is going to want to work for someone else. Some of you may want to have your own personal business, but anyone who's a small business owner knows even when you have your own small business, you are also competing against other small businesses. So again, how you market yourself, how you stand out, that's completely up to you. And this all has to do with whatever, I feel like you are climbing towards something. That's what I feel like this thing is. Some of you, either maybe you got to where you were climbing towards, or you're about to get to where you are climbing towards, and you may be questioning whether you want it or not. So there's lots of reasons that some of you are questioning whether you want it or not. I feel like it may have to do with this card, so I'm going to pull it next. Okay, yo, that's so funny, right? This is success, and it came out in reverse. It says, I know that there is no greater goal than love. Okay, so this is interesting, right? Because when you see the word success, when you give the word success to a lot of humans, or just to people in general, they're going to define it in different ways. So, because what success means to one person may not be success to another person. So success is something that's very subjective, but again, in the old reality that we were in, just the natural laws and social customs, success was really measured in, say, popularity, or in one point in time, success could have been measured in how many cattle you had, and success could be measured in how much money you have. You know, it's something that changes with the time because it's subjective. That's what I mean when I say success is very subjective. So many people have they don't really have a firm understanding of what success means to them, because success to them it's just only been what they were taught it was, right? If you were taught success was going to college, getting a job, working a 9-to-5, having kids, and retiring. If that's what success is for you, you know, for some people, success may be going to nursing school, or success is becoming a billionaire. Whatever success means to you, right? Likely it's something that you learned. Not a lot of people really have a firm understanding of what success means to them. Now, this is saying, I know that there is no greater goal than love, right? Because the reason why success is so subjective is because you can't really measure it. You can't quantify it the same in everyone, because we all live different journeys. And success is something that should make people want to shine their authentic light the most, right? Because in order to be successful, you have to figure out what that means to you. So I think a lot of people, like, they can have a lot of accomplishments. Like, maybe they're working a job their parents wanted them to work, or maybe they are like taking over someone's business, or maybe they got into this career that someone really wanted for them, and then they find themselves sort of changing careers. So I feel like I'm picking up and tuning into this energy, because some of you may be thinking about this. Some of you may be thinking about whether you want to stay in a job that you've been working really hard towards, or whether you want to move into something new, move into something different. So the reason why success was in reverse is, one, because your ancestors are telling you there's no greater goal than love. So whatever you do, do it with love. And if you do it with love and put all your love into it, right? Not an overwhelming amount so that you're drained, right? This does not mean giving all your energy into it. This just means doing something with all of your heart, loving every moment you do it, being so proud of what you do. You can't really love and have that pride in something if it's not your passion, if it's not something that comes from within, if it's something that someone told you to do, that someone expects of you. That passion just can't be there. So for many of you, you just need to figure out, your ancestors are telling you to figure out what success means to you, and that's how you sort of take it from reverse and put it up right. Whatever, you can just look at whatever job, career, you know, for some of you, you could just be trying to figure out what career path you want to take, or what your spiritual path is. You know, it doesn't just have to be a physical plane type of thing. It's sort of like finding your place in life. That's what figuring out success is. Finding your place in life, finding out what your path is. When you get on your path and you walk your path, that is success. So many of you are just trying to find that. And in order to do that, follow your heart. Go where your heart leads you. Not what someone expects of you, not what someone tells you to do, not what's going to make the most money, not what you can project is going to bring you the most amount of happiness, but your heart, what your heart is telling you to do, even if you feel that it's silly, even if it sounds silly. This is such a powerful message from your ancestors, power number one. It just feels, the energy feels so powerful. For many of you, your ancestors are like really wanting to lecture you, because for some of you, you could be steering in and out, right? Because I feel like you have that kind of journey where you can really climb really fast. So even if it takes you 20 years to get on your path, you can still climb the ropes faster than someone who took a traditional route. You don't have to take the front door. You can take the side door and still be in your own lane of success, right? Not comparing yourself or your success to the people around you. This is a message of your ancestors, because for many of you, your ancestors got caught in this trap. Your ancestors got caught in a trap of conforming to the expectations of society, of parents, of relationships, of loved ones, and not fulfilling their own needs, not being on their sole purpose because of attachments, because of expectations, because of projection of outcomes, right? So many people like, oh, I want this job because my projected outcome of finances is blah, 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 blah. You cannot project outcome of finances. I know it makes people feel very comfortable, but it's just something you can't do, right? Because someone can project how much they're going to make in a career, but what if they get injured, right? What if they have no choice but to stop? What is their backup? You can only back up to what your passion is, where your heart leads you. So for many of you, especially those who feel like you don't know your path, you just have to figure out how to discern the intentions of your heart from the intentions of others. Because for many of you, those have become merged, right? You feel like you want to do things, but there's a part of you that's forgetting you only want to do this because of someone else's expectation, is what your ancestors are telling me. Let's see what's next. Wow, look at this. What's next is man holding coin. So for many of you, this is definitely linked to finances in some kind of way. Either this is linked to finances because you feel like you have to go, again, there's this image of going through a front door, but many of you really finding your way with going through this side door. They're showing me that, and I feel like, because it's basically your ancestors showing me a vision, and I have to interpret that vision. And the way that I'm interpreting that vision is you all are not meant to take the path that everyone takes. You are meant to take the path less traveled on, right? And I feel like when you do, it's going to be easier, because if you try to be too influenced and do things that other people want you to do, you're going to find friction. I feel like if you all even try to take paths that other people lay out for you, the universe, again, with this mountain goal energy, the universe is only going to do things to move you back on your path, meaning you are going to have to experience lessons and friction and conflict with people when you are not on the path that you are meant to be. For many of you, this is why you have this deep desire to get on your path, because you're sick of the lessons, you're sick of the friction, you're sick of the conflict, you're sick of some kind of issue in finances, right? Some of you may have issues in finances for the very fact that you're not working a job that you love. And if your heart is not in your employment, your money is not going to match up, right? So again, like for some of you, this does not mean like having to completely upheave your life. For many of you, this is just like completely changing. If you were on a career path that was just not completely, aligned with your soul journey. But for some of you out there, I feel like this is just putting your heart into what you do again. Some of you could be experiencing like burnout or something, right? And it's like you're not putting your heart. You know how you can see someone and they first start a job and you see like the light in them, but then, oh my goodness, I feel so bad for people working customer service nowadays, because people, the more you have struggle for resources, the more people are going to be so angry. So everyone's just projecting their anger. And I feel like a lot of customer service people are getting it really bad. But sometimes you can see when they can really love a job. But if you take all that negative energy, other people's negative energy, without sort of protecting yourself from it. When you take on that energy, it can really take you out of love. So for some of you, you're just being called to renew your love for what you do again, right? There may have been something that happened that took that passion, took that love out of what you do, and your ancestors are giving you a message to put that love back in it. So I have like these little cutout cards, and the message that came up for you all is, if we are not ashamed to think it, we should not be ashamed to say it. Marcus Tullis Cercio. What am I getting from this? So for me, this card is really saying that the words you speak should be true, right? If you're not ashamed to think a certain thing about yourself, or to think a certain thing about others, or to think in maybe a unique way, you should not be afraid to proclaim that. You know, for many of you, this is just a throat chakra issue, you know, like needing to speak some kind of truth, right? Some kind of truth that you're holding within, but you may not be sharing with others. For some of you, this could be something very deep, you know, a subconscious kind of truth, which means it'll be harder for you to access. And then for some of you, this may just be something that you think about a lot, or you consciously think about, but you're afraid to say it to other people. So if you feel like there's not something that's consciously in your mind, but again, a lot of people are not too aware of all of their thoughts. So that's when it will be sort of like a subconscious kind of thing. So this is interesting, but that's basically to get more information on this specifically, like this truth not being spoken. You would need to get a personal reading, because I think I'm going to leave that one at that, because what I want to do next is pull a final card from the postcards from Spirit. And then I'll wrap up the reading. Okay, the final message from your ancestors for pile number 1. This really was a beautiful message, because I really just love seeing people come into themselves. That's one of my favorite things to do on this planet, is to see how someone shines when they're shining their own unique light and unique color. Everyone has a soul color. Everyone has an aura. When they're shining, and in vibration also, that came up in the GOAT card, when they're vibrating at their truth, right? At your true north, instead of being influenced by anything outside of you. I feel like that's one of the most beautiful things to experience on this planet, because when people shine their unique light, it's always beautiful, right? It's not the case that someone does something and they're so unique and it's like, no, this is not good for the planet. When everyone who shines their unique light that is not influenced by the negativity around them, it's beautiful. So let's see your postcard from Spirit. It says, with love, which is great, because this one said, I know that there is no greater goal than love. Okay, this says, dearest you, miracles never run out. Look back over your life and you will see so many moments of synchronicity with all the right people, the right place, the right opportunities, and the right time just showed up without any of your help. Think back to how you felt just before a miracle happened. You felt you were giving up, but it was more like a gentle surrender to whatever was about to happen. We want you to know that miracles are being concocted for you, and you will never, ever run out of them. You just don't get to choose how they come, who will deliver them, when they will show up, and what they will do for you. All of that is our department. Spirit knows what is best for you and what wants to be expressed through you. You are an incredible and amazing magnet for miracles. That would be a good mantra for you today. We're on it. Relax. It says, if you only knew how much you were loved, sigh. Beautiful message for you, pile number 1s, but that's all I have for messages from your ancestors. Please do let me know in the comments below how this resonated with you, and I'll see you all in the next reading. Bye-bye. All right, so hello and welcome to everyone attracted to pile number 2. This is going to be your reading on messages from your ancestors. So, you're attracted to this reading with Panda Spirit that says, create a sacred space for yourself in your home and or place of work. So this is a quite literal message from your ancestors to either get an altar, but I feel like this is needed for you in particular, pile number 2, because it's almost like you need to protect your energy in a way. Some of you maybe have very draining jobs, and this is almost like so you don't take on the energy of the people around you. It's almost like creating an altar, even if it's just like getting crystals like obsidian or black tourmaline, especially. So any dark crystals like that. But even like lapis lazuli, there are, and clear quartz especially, but there are many crystals that you can get that can really just help you. It really helps to block any kind of negative energy. And it doesn't just have to be negative as though you have like a job where there's negativity. You can just have like a very draining kind of job, whether it's physically draining, mentally draining, spiritually draining, whatever it is. I'm just seeing that some of you are feeling a bit empty. You know, if especially you can know this is for you if once you get to like Thursday or Friday and to like the end of your week, you're just feeling so drained. That's how you know that what you're doing for work is very taxing, So there are things that you can do spiritually and to protect your energy in that way. And that's what creating an altar or sacred space for yourself is about. But I do also want to emphasize again that this is saying for place of work. For some of you, there could be, just like I just described with how negativity can be in your work, for some of you, negativity can be in your home. Like, it doesn't just have to be in your house. You can live in a place where there is negativity around you. So this is also why it's important to have home altars as well as altars in your work. Okay, so the next card out for you, power number 2, is the blame card. This is from the Soul's Journey Oracle. This is a blame card in reversed. It says, I accept responsibility for my well-being. I want to just put out the other card from the Soul Journey Oracle because you had 2 cards from that deck come out. And this one is freedom, which came out upright. And it says, I possess the power and the free will to create my own happiness. So beautiful. All right, so in addition to the message from your ancestors about creating a sacred space for yourself, especially with negativity in your environment, there's also a message for you all to sort of take more responsibility for your actions. There may be something going on, your ancestors are telling me, where you're shifting the blame around to people who may not be to blame, right? So for me, this is more so talking about seeing things from a higher perspective. Like when you are in the mindset that even the wrongdoings other people do to you, like that they need to be blamed, like judgment, like pointing a finger at them, it's almost like pointing a finger at yourself, right? Because everything that's happening in our outer world is happening in our inner world. And I feel like this is the hardest truth for human beings to understand. It's so difficult for human beings to understand that everything that happened in their life happened for a reason, because some people just so very much want someone to blame for something horrible. And when you try to have a conversation with people like this, one of the first things, and again, I'm not saying this with judgment because I completely understand what it is like to be in this energy. However, because I feel like I'm getting a little static from your energy, power number 2s. So I'm feeling like for some of you, especially that this is resonating with, some of you surpassed this. But I feel like if you're attracted to this pile, this is one of the lessons that your ancestors have had for you in this life, to not blame. So many of you may have had very hard experiences, which even allows, because not everyone can be impacted by the energies around them. Not everyone can be weighed down in certain environments because they're completely closed off and spiritually, but you are open. So this is telling me that you may have had some painful experiences, because pain is power in this realm. So for me, this is telling me that some of you may have had some painful experiences. Now this was to lead to some kind of power, lead to some kind of freedom. Even look at this freedom card. It says, I possess the power and the free will to create my own happiness. So power number 2s, your ancestors, the message is pretty clear from this so far. In order to reach your freedom in whatever sense, because some of you, it's almost like battling, right? Especially with being drained possibly by the people, your environment, without even, for some of you, you may not understand how much you're being drained by the environment, right? Because a lot of the times it's not until you're taken out of a toxic environment that you can better stand up and see what was actually happening. So for some of you, it's almost like not being able to stand up and see something that happened because you still may be pointing a finger at someone. And it's almost like when you can see this situation from a higher perspective, you will be free. Because for many of you, you know, there may just be something from your past that haunts you, that comes up every now and then, that triggers you, that causes you to react in certain ways, because that's all a trigger is. Something that happens and it triggers a past memory, a past pain, and you relive it over and over again. And because it's pushed down in your subconscious, because when something triggers you, it's not conscious, or else it still wouldn't be a trigger, right? When it's pushed down into the subconscious, what's going to happen, right? If you've been watching my channel, you know it's going to cycle right back into your life, because what's in the subconscious mind is how we manifest our reality. So for many of you, in order to be free of some kind of conflict you may have been inadvertently manifesting in your life, you have to forgive someone. You have to take responsibility for something. For some of you, this is just taking responsibility for your life. It's not even necessarily forgiving someone. For some of you, it is. There's someone from your past that you need to forgive. And you need to understand that it's likely the two of you, or how you, the group of you, whoever is involved, because it's like another person, it's likely whoever hurt you, you both had some kind of soul contract. And I know that's so hard and invalidating for people to hear, but that's just how it is. You see it from a higher perspective. We have these soul contracts with people to teach us certain lessons. Not all lessons are good lessons, right? We live in a world where everyone wants everything to be good. And I feel like I'm lecturing you a little bit, pound number two, and I don't mean to be, but this is how your ancestors are giving the message for you. Your ancestors are giving you the message this way because it's almost like it's time for you to step into a new sense of power, a new sense of freedom. But you have been held back by, because it's almost like when you blame someone, you're giving your power away to them. Because when you can take the higher perspective and understand the lesson, that's when you stand in your power. You have all your energy. But if there's someone you're psychically attached to, energetically attached to, because you blame them, because you feel wronged by them, right? They have some of your power. They're living rent-free in your mind, right? And again, this is not an easy thing for many of you. It's really hard to let go of that blame, because it's almost like it keeps you close to that person. So again, it's gonna differ depending on what your situation is. But I really do feel like this blame, when this is overcome, it leads to a new level of freedom. And this is what your ancestors want you to know. There's some other energy coming out of this card too, though. I'm trying to tune back into it. It's flighting, the energy that something else your ancestors are trying to tell you, because it's almost like it keeps weaving in and out of my mind, like a fleeting thought. So hold on while I catch it. So for some of you, this is about the part that says taking responsibility for your well-being. For some of you, this is like a fleeting thought, because it's almost like you keep forgetting to take care of yourself. It's almost like you keep pushing it off. It's almost like maybe you know how to block energies out. It's almost like maybe you know how to create altars. Maybe you know about crystals. Maybe you know about why you should protect your energy. But again, it's like a fleeting thought. You're not holding on to it, or not grounding the energy, not following through with it, not being consistent with it. So for some of you, that's a message from your ancestors too, because again, all of this leads to a new level of freedom. All of this needs to a new level of freedom, because for me, this just feels like taking that power and energy back from whoever may have it through blame, whether it's you blame or whether it's the people in your environment having your energy, just tugging it around because you're not protecting it. Because maybe you know you should wear obsidian and clear quartz, and maybe you don't, right? So, and again, I'm not saying it with judgment. It's just that I feel like this is it's a very human thing to do, right? Like, we can know things are good for us. We know the proper diet, right? We know things that are good for us, good routines, good habits, but that doesn't necessarily mean that everyone's going to do it. So for some of you, that's a message from your ancestors, because again, it leads to more power and more freedom because you have your energy back. So this is getting into the routine for your own well-being, because I feel like many of you would not hesitate to do this for someone else. So let's see what's next. The next card is from the Energy Oracle. Wow, look at this. This says walk away, and the first thing I heard was walk away from negative habits. But that's not the biggest energy coming out of this card. That's more sort of like another fleeting sort of energy that your message, that your ancestors wanted to say. It's like you're getting that freedom. You may have already done a lot of work in here. You may have done lots of shadow work to eliminate any kind of blame that you had from a person, place, or situation that hurt you in the past, and gaining your power back. And now this is about closing the door and not going back, right? Even if you need to think about that thing from your past one more time, and then envision a box in your mind, in your mind's eye, with a calm heart, put it in that box, that thought in that box, lock it and throw it into the ocean. Like, just whatever you need to do. Visualization is great for this kind of stuff, right? Like, it's great for letting things go, because a lot of people don't understand how when you do something in one realm, it ripples in all realms. So if you do something in the sort of like the astral plane, it's going to ripple into the physical plane, into the spiritual plane, into the mental plane. So if you make a vow to forget about something, to not plague yourself with some kind of thought, because some of you are really caught up in your past or something, or just something to do with some kind of negative energy continuing to penetrate you. And you maybe know how to shield yourself from it, but something in you still letting it in, right? Some of you are walking away from that. And to walk away from it, you have the power to be free of it, right? And all you have to do is vow to be free of it, because that's how powerful you are. When you declare that you're going to stop doing something, you can stop. And visualization can really help you with that, if what I just said resonated with you. So let me see. I also pulled a couple of cards, sort of messages. Let's see what they say. Wow, this is beautiful. This says keep your head up. And I feel like this is right over the blame again. Like I was getting from this blame energy. It's never easy to hear that. Like, there are some people who had some experiences in life that most people only see in movies, right? And it's really hard. And the harder the experience, the more pain it caused, the harder it is to let that go, to forgive. I think that's why so many people admire Jesus Christ, because it's like, to be tortured by someone and still want to bless them. Humans naturally admire that. We call these people martyrs, right? So for many of you, it's almost like being a martyr in some kind of way, like enduring a certain amount of pain. But, you know, even if we were just talking about Jesus, imagine if Jesus was still bitter. Jesus would not be known for being Jesus if after being tortured, Jesus was still bitter about it and still shooting down the names of the people who did it. Now, again, I'm not saying that there's not a time and place for it, because if you need, let that anger out for sure. I'm always one to tell people to let your anger out. No, this is not a love and a light speech to, you know, turn the other cheek and forgive people. This is let that anger out. If someone hurt you, it's all like, again, it's definitely a soul contract, but it's also in that soul contract to let that anger, to release the remnants of the emotions that manifested in you, that emerged in you because of the experience you had, right? Like if someone got into a car accident, I'm not going to expect them not to have a fearful response when getting in a car or when driving. That's just something that is naturally going to happen. That is just your physiology, right? It's just something that's going to happen. So definitely get through those experiences. But when you get through those experiences, the freedom is in fully releasing it. And you cannot fully release an experience if there is still blame to a person, place, or situation. So your message from your ancestors, just to keep your head up, you know, keep going. No one is saying this is something that's easy to do. I feel like many of you are walking out that door, and if you're not, if you're nowhere near there, that's okay too. This is all a part of your experience. This is just your ancestors telling you freedom is what is on the other side of this gate. Freedom from that experience, right? The greatest thing a human being can do in this life is be able to hold a heavy experience, right? and not sort of let it overwhelm you. Be able to hold that heavy experience, completely process it, integrate the lessons of it, and release it, right? When I say integrate the lessons, this is not holding on to negative energies that came up in your body because of what happened. This is being able to process what happened to you, have a understand it in whatever way you need to be able to release it, right? And for many people, that's understanding it from a higher level. Understanding that this was meant to happen to make you stronger. Nothing happens in life to make someone weaker. Yes, there may be certain things that happen in life that may break bones, that may weaken the physical body, but that does not make your spirit weak. That does not weaken your soul. I think there is, like, a lot of people say something can happen and it weakens someone's spirit. I don't believe that someone's spirit can be weakened. I believe someone can just become distant from their spirit. And they can forget how strong they are. They can forget how powerful they are, right? This is what happens when you point a finger and have blame, when you give your power away to people in that way. So that's why your ancestors are telling you to become free of that situation. So the last card, but I'm also going to pull some cards, a message from spirit, but the last sort of cutout card that came out says people with goals succeed because they know where they're going. Wow, right? And the fact that this one's saying where you're going, this one's right next to the walk away and the freedom card, right? This is understanding where you're going. When you understand where you're going, you never get stuck in the past. Again, I keep bringing this back to Jesus, which is interesting because my spirit guides kept showing me visions of crosses today. And here I am talking about the Jesus Christ energy in my reading, which I seldomly do. But again, if Jesus did not understand where he was going, right? Understanding that he is everlasting, understanding that he was going to be born again because he is an everlasting soul. If Jesus did not have that understanding, the wisdom of the universe in that way, Jesus may have been very fearful while being tortured, and Jesus may not have been able to forgive his persecutors. So this is your ancestors telling you, know where you are going. Whatever you may have been through was not your final destination. Wherever you may be right now is not your final destination. You can walk away from that situation. You can be free from whatever situation may be restricting you in some kind of way, right? Know where you're going. And where you're going is towards freedom, is towards your path. That's what I feel like a big message from the ancestors are going to be in this reading, right? Is stepping into your light, stepping into your authentic self. This is something that ancestors are constantly telling us because many humans have incarnations where they do not live out their spiritual path. And again, if you look at this from a higher way, everything happens for a reason. We're not always meant to be born and live out our spiritual paths, right? Sometimes we're meant to be born and divert into something else so that we can have that experience. You have the freedom to choose too, right? That's what your ancestors are trying to tell you. You have the freedom to choose what your path is. There's nothing, I feel like there's almost like this energy of some of you feeling like, it goes into the pointing finger thing. Some of you may feel like something needs to like be pointed in a direction. Some of you may feel like you need to be pointed in the right direction. Almost like waiting for someone to point you in the right direction. Again, it sort of goes into this blame and needing to take your power back in that way, right? For some of you, you may have had someone in your life who tell you were not going to make it, who you were not going to go places. For some of you, that negative energy may be coming from within, from whoever may have, because I do feel like for many of you, you had someone who really hurt you and you're really praying or you're hoping to be free of this situation, right? But you may be looking for someone to point you in the right direction, and your ancestors are telling you freedom is your own path, right? You decide where you go next. There's no telling you, like, again, knowing where they're going. Some of you may even have felt like you were just moving because other people were moving too, and you were just following suit. It goes with many of you, it's almost like, again, feeling stuck in this energy of blame. So whatever it is, your ancestors are giving you lots of hope that, you know, there's freedom from this situation. Whatever level you're at, whether this is something you're beginning and energy you're stepping out of, there is freedom. That's where you're going. Freedom from the situation, and your heart's gonna guide you where to go. You can't really follow your heart if, you know, A lot of your energy is stuck on something or someone from the past. All right. So you all had 2 cards from the messages from Spirit come out. I'm going to read both of them. So this says, you are fierce. Beautiful. Dearest you, there is only one you, and you have a unique path and a special purpose. You're supposed to have specific experiences in this world and meet certain people, but then it is up to you how you live, how awake you choose to be, and how willing you are to grow and strip away what's false. Don't compare yourself to others. It's easy to think a person is happier just because their outside looks good according to society's standards, but you can't know anyone's internal experience. Compare yourself only to your past self. See how far you've come. Don't be distracted by what others are doing or accomplishing. Stay focused on what inspires you, and that's how you get successful and find happiness. Want what you have now, not what someone else has. We love you immensely and know your journey ahead is sparkling with miracles and wondrous things. Trust. Loving you forever and ever. Beautiful. So many nice synchronicities in here. And this is reminding me also of the energy of pile number 1. So you all may have been attracted to that reading, or your ancestors could also be telling you in that message to check out some messages from pile number 1. All right, pile number 2. There was like a big message in delay to give you all a message about clearing out the old and clearing out old stuff. I feel like that's another message from your ancestors. They may be just trying to tell you that for some of you, not clearing out the old may be causing some kind of delays, or maybe preventing some kind of freedom. And it's gonna have to also do with this card, the second card that came out for you. So let's see. So this one says, dearest you, over here there is no mystery for us to unravel, as we know intimately how connected we all are, how the web of creation works, and how spirit is in every aspect of life, from the invisible to the visible. But it's impossible for humans to comprehend the complexities of how things actually work, because the most important threads in the tapestry don't make sense in the dimension you live in. That said, can you feel the importance of these currents of energy that bring events together in miraculous ways? You can't understand with your mind, but you can know with your heart and soul. Trust that even though you don't know the how, the what, or the why, we do. Surrender the mystery and have faith that the unseen world is watching you with loving eyes as spirit weaves your life's mysteries in beautiful tapestry and glorious technicolor. Loving you so much as always. So again, there were a few delays. The video kept getting stopped, and I had to delete old pictures in order to sort of make room for the new. In order to make room for new videos, for new pictures, I had to go through and delete some old pictures. So the way that message is being rippled for all of you is there is a need to go ahead and delete and declutter in order to fully walk out. Again, there's almost like this energy of being tied to the past, but everything in this card, in both of these cards, sort of just tied in together what this reading was about. So I'm going to leave it there for you, pile number 2s. But please do let me know in the comments below how this resonated with you. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye. All right, so hello and welcome to everyone attracted to pile number 3. This is going to be your pick a card reading. These are going to be some powerful messages from your ancestors. The messages in pile numbers 1 and 2 were very powerful, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen in pile number 3. So you were attracted to this reading with the rattlesnake card. Now you all had 2 cards from the messages from the animal spirits come out. So I'm going to start with those. Now, your first one is rattlesnake. It says the experience that you're presently going through is an initiation into fulfilling your purpose as a healer. Wow, like that's a powerful message in itself. So whatever you are going through, a lot of people truly don't understand how the lessons in their life shape them and prepare them to heal others, because when you have gone through whatever you have gone through and you have pulled yourself out, you can then step into a role, a leadership role, where you're able to help guide others to do that same kind of healing. That's what a leader is. That's what a healer is. A healer is not always someone who just takes away pain. Now, there are types of healers that have that purpose, and some of you may have that journey where the type of healing you do is taking away someone's pain instead of necessarily guiding them to learn how to take away their own pain. However, your role as a healer is in your life, your experiences, what you went through, what you experienced, that's what shaped you. So, powerful message to start off from your ancestors. Let's go into the other one from the animal spirit. Now, this was a tortoise. It came out in reverse. It says, you're too fragmented, so do whatever it takes to get grounded. Now, this is actually really good energy because it came out in reverse. So this is telling me that you have been, it's like a soul retrieval energy. You have been calling in your energy. You have been getting your power back. Now, to make this more practical, this means you have been speaking up. When you are pulled to speak up instead of silencing yourself, you have been standing up when pulled to stand up instead of, making yourself smaller. You have been, coming more together, stepping more in your authenticity. It's the opposite of fragmented. The opposite of fragmentation is retrieval, is soul retrieval, is stepping in fully to your power. So when you have the tortoise card, I'm going to put it in reverse since it came out in reverse. So when you have this energy in reverse and this card is a healer, it's almost like pile number 3 is your ancestors are giving you some kind of confirmation that you have passed some kind of initiation into becoming a new level of healer, right? Because this is the kind of healer who has been able to pull yourself completely together. What happens when there's a trauma or where there's some kind of painful experience is it like breaks the soul, it breaks the person. I think that's why people say the brokenhearted, right? We equate it to the heart. A physical thing is being broken, but in reality, what's being broken is sort of like the soul fragmenting in a certain kind of way. And what that is staying stuck in an experience, and some staying stuck almost in time, right? So you all may have been very fragmented, may have had things that you experienced that caused some kind of fragmentation in you. It's very shamanic kind of energy too. So you all, your ancestors could be shamans. You all could, be shamans in a modern kind of way, or some of you could be in a very ancient kind of way. But whatever it is, it's almost like you were able to piece yourselves together, pile number 3, and your ancestors are acknowledging that because that was an initiation. Not everyone can do that, and that's sort of the energy. It's almost like what I noticed with these readings is they all sort of climb together. Pile number 1 sort of climbs into pile number 2, and pile number 2 kind of climbs into pile number 3. So some of you may have been attracted. If you were attracted to pile 2 and 3, your ancestors are telling you pile 2 may be the energy that you're in, but pile 3 is the energy that you are stepping into. You have cleared out the clutter. You have made space for new in your life. That was the initiation. You brought yourself together and distance and took away what was no longer serving you. So you are stepping in to a new life. You're walking through the door, because how pile number 2 ended was that walking away card, right? So this is closing that past door and just, ridding yourself of blame and ridding yourself of judgment, pulling yourself together and standing firm as a healer, right? You've finished your healing process, and that is such a thing. Some people think they have to constantly heal. Like the reason why you constantly have to heal through life is because we're constantly having new experiences. It's not true that you have to constantly heal old experiences over and over again. It is possible to heal them. It's just like it's possible to break a bone and heal it. You don't have to. All right, so like I was saying, it is possible to heal and actually be done with that healing instead of having to continue to sort of heal something over and over and over and over again, which I feel like a lot of people get caught in that habit of thinking that They need to constantly be healing something, but it's possible to heal something and be done with it. And that's what I feel like is going on with you. Pile number 3 is a message from your ancestors, is that you have healed. It may have been 3 things in particular for many of you, but for some of you, it could have been either 1 to 3 things. But I feel like at a max, 3 major things that you have healed, 3 major things that you are sort of coming into balance with, you know, because again, like I was saying, the opposite of this fragmentation is retrieval. So retrieving that power, retrieving those parts of yourself. So let's look at the other cards. So the card that came out from the Soul's Journey Oracle is honesty. It says, I can't always expect the truth from others, but I can expect it from myself. So I feel like another message from your ancestors, pile number 3, is that many of you may have been hurt by the dishonesty of other people. You may have felt lied to. You may have felt like, you know, someone was sort of pointing the finger at you or judging you in a negative kind of way. And then there's almost like this energy of many of you, because of all of the dishonesty or even deception, you know, people just completely either withholding information from you. For some of you, there could have been some kind of gaslighting going on where they're withholding information from you and, you know, making it seem like there's nothing going on or there's nothing wrong, you know, so some gaslighting kind of energy going on. But again, none of this, something that I see really huge in the spiritual community is that there tends to be these group of people that call themselves empaths, and then they contrast that to narcissists. And it's like they look at themselves like, oh, I'm an empath, and this is why I attracted all this toxicity in my life. This is why I attracted narcissists. But this is what, if you resonate with this energy, this is not the easiest thing to hear. But again, these are powerful messages from your ancestors. Your ancestors are not here to sugarcoat things to you. I'm not here to sugarcoat things to you, because you can't grow if things are only said to you in a way that makes you feel comfortable. Healing is very uncomfortable. Something that's very uncomfortable for empathic people to understand is that they also have narcissistic characteristics. They also have narcissistic tendencies. And narcissist is just an unhealed empath, right? And an empath is just a healed narcissist. Many people who claim to be at the empathic level, they may have been at an empathic level, but when you are at, you know, this goes into the pile 2 kind of energy, so I'm not going to get into this too much because I talked a lot about this and blame and the pile number 2, but I feel like with this honesty card coming up, and again, this is something that many of you may have had to learn, maybe even the hard way. You may have had to learn that attracting narcissistic people means that there's something within you that was feeding that type of person at a certain point of time. So when you think about gaslighting and you think of dishonesty, it has to do with something going on internally. But what this right here is telling me, pile number 3, and the messages from your ancestors, is that you are stepping into an energy where you have a better understanding that you cannot have expectations of other people. The moment you start expecting people to behave in a certain way, the moment you start expecting people to do certain things, you're over controlling the situation, you're over controlling life, and that is going to lead to disappointment. It's going to lead to resentment. If you were trying to picture or project how your life is going to be, something like that may not measure up, may make you feel disappointed, or if something happens and it's sort of unexpected, it can make you feel shocked. It can make you feel anxious. So understanding that honesty comes from within, and you can't really have these expectations of people. You know, that's also a part of this idea of being a healer, right? Your ancestors are really trying to prepare you, pile number 3, for being the best healer that you can be. And when you are a healer, you have to understand that not everyone can be healed by you. And not everyone is meant to be in your life full term, right? Sometimes you can just having a conversation with someone or an interaction, whether it's considered to be a positive interaction or negative interaction, there could be healing. So if you are this initiation, when you proclaimed yourself to the universe, to Gaia, to Earth, to Sophia, you know, that higher type of energy, when you proclaimed yourself to be a healer, that you're going to be a healing light to the people around you, you have to understand that sometimes that healing light means there may be someone coming to your life, and it can be a very sort of intent or what you consider to be a negative interaction, but there's healing in that. There's understanding in that. You may not be healed or understand why what happened in the moment the way it did. It may not be until 3-4 months later, or possibly even years later, that you understand what that lesson was meant to teach you, right? So that all goes into honesty. If you can just approach every situation, every person, every opportunity in life, being the best that you could be, being love, and being honest within yourself, it doesn't matter what the people around you are doing. It doesn't matter if someone's being dishonest, because you're understanding that dishonesty is coming from a place from within them. It doesn't matter if someone is being angry towards you. It doesn't matter if someone is, I feel like defiance is a big sort of energy that people consider to be negative, but in reality, defiance has more to do with how you are perceiving that person. Because the moment you start to try to control what someone else is doing, in a way, it's almost taking their power away. So again, I don't want to get too deep into this energy, because I feel like this is all more so summarizing what you all have experienced, what you all have been through. And if you are resonating more with still battling with this energy, I highly recommend that you check out pile number 2, because you still may be at that level. But I'm gonna go ahead and read for the rest of pile number 3s, which I feel like is more on a higher vibration. And again, there's nothing wrong with I think, again, some people compare themselves. Whether you're at the highest vibration or the lowest vibration, you still have learning to do. You still have a journey to do. Just make sure you're not comparing your path to others. That's so important for the healer to understand too. Some people may take 50 years to heal and may spend 20 years working as a healer. Some people may take 20 years to heal and spend 50 years working as a healer. There's not one that's better than the other. They're all doing their unique path and their unique journey. And this is where the honesty is coming from, right? You can't always expect the truth from others. And when you are healing someone, when you have the eyes of a healer, when you're seeing people, their aura, when you're seeing how they can grow, sometimes people don't want to grow. And some of you may have had to learn that the hard way. You may have had people, places, situations around you. You could have saw their highest potential. I was literally just talking to my best friend about this. You could have saw their highest potential, but that doesn't mean that that person could have seen their highest potential in the moment. So a lot of, again, it goes into that empath narcissist relationship. Some people spend so much time feeding light into someone, but there comes a point in time when you have to look at yourself. When you are constantly trying to heal that person who you're claiming to be a narcissist, or continuing to track people who you consider to be narcissistic, you have to look at yourself, because there's something that you're getting out of those interactions, right? And a lot of the times what these empaths get out of those interactions is that they can keep postponing their own healing so that they can feed their light to these other people. So again, I feel like many of you had to learn that lesson. You know, it could have been an easy journey to learning that lesson, but for most people, that's a very hard thing to do. It's very hard for a healer to see someone in their path who needs healing and to not drop everything to heal them. But again, that's the lower vibration of a healer. That's a healer before initiation. The initiated healer, the adept healer, understands that people are put in your path, and it doesn't mean that they're on your path for eternity. Sometimes you can plant a seed and they may not realize until 3-4 months down the line or years down the line what you were doing, right? So that's the most important journey I see for you, pile number 3s. You know, I really do feel like you are on the edge of becoming or became something newer, something really stepping into that healing energy. And I really do feel like a major lesson for you, pile number 3s, is there going to be people, you know, because this is a kind of journey that comes with some tests, right? There are still going to be people who come in your life, and they may sort of be in that energy of what people consider to be narcissistic. But again, the narcissistic person is just an unhealed empath. That's all a narcissistic person is. The narcissistic person is an empath who's been beat up so much that that's what they become, right? So it's the same. It's the same energy. It's the same person. Most empaths are going to have a time in their journey where they are narcissistic, and most narcissists are going to have times in their journey where they are very empathic, or they're just working as healers, as empathic healers. So again, anytime someone's open to the emotional energy of someone, it's going to disrupt their emotions in order to heal their emotions. And that's what many of you had to go through. So there are going to be people put in your path to test you a little bit. And for those of you who were in the habit of holding on to people, having some issues letting them go, because of something else that empaths struggle with is abandonment. Not wanting to let people go, not wanting to feel like they failed. But again, that's coming from an internal place. You cannot control how people are going to perceive your energy. Some of you there could be someone coming your path and you could see they need healing. But if they don't see they need healing and you're trying to throw your healing knowledge towards them, then you're going to look like the narcissist, right? So you're going to look like the person who's taking control, and it may cause a little bit of a power struggle, right? You cannot heal someone who doesn't believe that they need healing. You cannot heal someone who does not want to heal. You cannot change someone who does not want to change. So these are all lessons, major lessons that your ancestors are telling me that you had to learn, pound number threes. But this is going to be important because I feel like if you're approaching a time in your life where you're meeting new people, or maybe people from your past are coming back up, that discernment is needed. Understanding, even if you need to check in with your inner guide, with your ancestors, especially with your guardian angels, even if you need to check in with them, however you check in with them. Some people check in with them through tarot, divination. Some people, check in with them through their third eyes, through dreams. However you connect with the spiritual realm. If someone comes in your life and you can see they need healing, before impulsively just jumping to do it, make sure you have that boundary. That's something else. The biggest difference between an empathic healer and a narcissistic healer. Because you have some people who are really, really big, really renowned life coaches, spiritualists, and they have more of a narcissistic way of healing than an empathic way of healing. And that narcissistic way of healing has to do with power. You cannot force healing on someone. Even if you feel like it's for their highest good, you cannot force it, right? Everyone has free will, including you, including them. So big message from your ancestors so that you all don't get tripped up, so that you all don't get taken out of your vibration, so you all don't end up draining your energy, having your energy drained, trying to pour it into someone who's closed. Because a lot of empaths, a lot of empathic healers do that as well. You're pouring your light energy into someone and they're close to it. So you're draining yourself and they're not getting any of that light. Like I said, because some of you, I feel like, are actively dealing with people like that. Planting a seed is a lot more powerful than people give credit for. Sometimes you just need to plant that seed, have that interaction with someone, point someone in some kind of helpful direction. And if they choose to take that advice, to take that energy, it's up to them. If they don't choose it, that's fine too. That's a part of your rebirth, pound number threes. Being able to heal in a different way, being able to see the idea of healing from a different perspective. If you look at people who need to be healed as a duality of empaths and narcissists, it's going to automatically throw you in a low vibration. A lot of something I found as well is that if an empathic healer has not sort of resolved any kind of issues or interactions they had with narcissistic people from their past, they may see someone who needs healing and sort of misread that situation as a person being narcissistic, So again, I don't want to spend too much on this because I feel like but I do feel like you all need to hear it, because for many of you, you stepped out of this energy, but I do feel like some of you were torn in between piles 2 and 3. And this is the reason why, because you're waiting for that healing and this is what's needed. And for those of you who I'm speaking to, that's when the test is going to come up. That's when the ancestors are going to bring people in your life, or there could already have been people in your life and they're going to test you in that way. Are you going to behave as you did in the past? Are you going to try to give all your light and love away? Or can you heal someone with a boundary up? Can you heal someone without giving so much of yourself that you have nothing left? That's not what healing is. Healing is not giving everything. Healing is not martyrdom. You know, and that's why you have to understand what healing means to you. If someone has the idea that healing means giving your all, then that's how they're going to heal. But that's not a healthy way to heal. You have to take care of yourself first. And it's not selfish to do so. It's important to do so, because if you are trying to give healing energy to someone and you are depleted, you're not going to give them healing energy. You're going to give them negative energy without understanding it. And again, then you inadvertently become the narcissist. So some of you are vacillating between that. Some of you stepped out of that energy, and it was hard to step out of. Many of you, it was hard to step. It's so hard to step out of that energy because a lot of healers have first needed to pull themselves together and be healed. And when you see how much of a struggle that is, you may want to save people the time, the space, the pain from having to learn those hard lessons you had to learn. But you can't take someone's lessons away. Some people do have that kind of energy where, like that priest type of energy, where you can sort of take people's lessons away. But something I found in that kind of energy is you can leave that person feeling unresolved. And if someone comes, this is something else that happens in Reiki. If someone comes and they remove some kind of block, but you're not receptive to that energy, that negative energy is going to go right back there. So again, what happens? That person who did all that time and energy healing sort of just wasted energy or wasted time, because that person may not have been ready for it. So I do feel like if you're battling in that energy, especially if you were battling, but if you are really deciding whether it was just POW 2 or rather POW 2 or 3, I highly recommend you check out the messages from POW number 2 so that you can get to this vibration, get to this energy of the initiated. So let's see what's next. Yes. So the next card is action. And this is what you're stepping into, POW number 3, is you are ready to become a healer. And if you're not feeling ready to become a healer, like I said before, check out POW number 2. But for those of you who have already surfed through this energy, you feel like you already done some kind of soul retrieval. I actually have a video that I can link on a soul retrieval, soul rebirth that I did, where I pointed out the biggest lessons of your soul and how you can overcome them. Right? The biggest lesson of your soul, POW number 3, was dealing with deceptive and dishonest people. People who would use your energy, who would take your light and make it seem like you are feeding them darkness instead of light. People who confused you, people who hurt you, maybe hurt your mind, maybe hurt your body, maybe hurt your emotions. However they hurt you, maybe hurt your spirit. Not just people. For some of you, it could have been beings. You know, it could have been ancestors actually coming in your life in the role to sort of, you know, this is sort of something else that you're going to learn as you get really far in this initiation energy, is that demonic and harmonic energies are both there with the same purpose, to get you on your path, right? Those demonic energies are there to bring destruction and disillusion into your life in order to get you back on the path. And some people don't understand how the archangels have both sides of themselves. They have both demonic sides, where they're there as destroyer, as they're there to bring any kind of hidden pain or fear you had in the darkness, and bring those to light, to completely shake your life up, to get you back where you need to be. Sometimes these energies come in a very harmonic way. It can be a blessing, right? Sometimes someone can have it in their path it depending on what your energy, this is depending on what your energy is. That's why this action is so needed, right? Because if you are being called to be healers, but you're still in that path where you're giving all your light away, you may attract a demonic force that comes in your life just to take all your light and seemingly deplete you of everything. Some of you could have experienced this in the past. Someone in your life, and they seem to drain everything from you, and you're left with seemingly nothing left, right? Or it could have been a place or a situation that left you with seemingly nothing. That's a demonic energy coming in to get you on your path, because when you were at rock bottom in that way, you are able to see your life from a different perspective. Now, some people, depending on their energy, depending on their journey, this being the same archangel, again, it's not a different, it's just the duality. Just like the narcissist and the empath is the same person, the demon and the angel is the same person. And I know that's hard to hear, but I'm feeling like you all are ready to hear it because you're being initiated. And if you're not, like I said, this may not be the channel for you, because I speak the truth. I'm not going to sugarcoat something to make somebody feel better, right? For some people, that energy may come in their life in a very harmonic way. And a lot of humans only think the harmony is angels, and then, the disruption is demons, and they're two separate beings, but they're not. They're the same. Right? For some of you, those same archangels that once took everything from you can come right back in your life and bring miracles and blessings, right? It all is dependent on your energy. What do you need from the universe? Are you actively asking the universe what you need, or are you just letting the sort of waves flow towards you? Is the universe sort of guessing, right? Because when you are manifesting, what happens when people start to become more conscious is they can grow through harmony. If they're in a situation and they're on their path, maybe you can have blessings, resources, aid, whatever you need to make you feel more powerful, to put you on your path. But I also don't want to make it seem like the people who have more demonic or destructive energies, it's not that you're doing anything wrong. Sometimes that's just how we need to grow. Sometimes that's just how we need to learn. Sometimes we need destruction more than we need construction in our life. Sometimes it's like the tower moment. The tower moment is that demonic energy. Sometimes we need to have everything taken away from us before we can even appreciate what it is like to have everything that we want in our lives. So this is a call for you to take action in your life. Take action on how you want your life to go. Do you want to grow through demonic energies, through destruction, or do you want to grow through harmony? Because it is your choice. You don't have to grow through destruction. One thing that many of you, I feel like you had to learn, or that you are going to learn, is that your inner demons, we all have them. Again, it's those destructive energies. The goal is not to push them down, to put them in a closet, to hide them, to put them in a lower vibration. The goal is to feed light into that, meaning conscious awareness, being able to look at it without fear and integrate those energies, because they're all there to teach you lessons. All of them. So what I want to do next, because I'm still going to pull some cards from the postcards from Spirit, but I have some cutout cards that I want to read for you all. Wow, look at this. I love it. This one says, "You are my sunshine," and I was getting this huge solar energy. Let me show you this. If you look really closely, do you see that this sun, where you are my sunshine, is very similar to these suns that you see in this tortoise, right? So for many of you, whatever you called back into your life, that power that you had to take back, it's going to lead to a very beautiful blessing. Again, I feel like this is not saying that your soul won't ever have to learn through destruction. That's not what this is saying. Right? Because again, sometimes you may choose that. Sometimes you may choose to start over, right? What if you're playing a video game and you completed all the levels, are you going to just keep playing it over and over again? Sometimes you may want to start over. Sometimes you may want to start over with a new character. Sometimes you want to start building something from the bottom, right? Destruction, that energy is so needed. But some people only look to one is bad and one is good. And if you have that judgment on the energies, it's going to impact the way it comes into your life. So you have the ability to attract some really beautiful blessings with this. You are my sunshine. The sunshine always reminds me of a new beginning, a bright new way of existing in harmony, coming into balance, existing in serenity and peace. This is something else that my spirit guides were telling me. Intensity without serenity is just aggression. If someone's really intense with their emotions, but they're not at peace, they're so fragmented, holding on to their past in a negative environment, they're just gonna seem aggressive. But when you add that sense of peace and serenity to intensity, that's when you get passion. And you all are stepping into the ability to be passionate about healing, to be passionate about healing the planet, healing people. And that's what this new beginning is about. A new passion, a new way of existing, a new perspective on life, a higher perspective on life. That's what it is when you brought all your power back. That's what your ancestors are telling you. There's just been a celebration for you from your ancestors. They're celebrating what you have just passed. And again, if you have not overcome this energy, don't you worry. Your ancestors are telling you that there will be a celebration, because it is within your journey to overcome this in this life very soon. I feel like this is something that's happening very soon, within the next 1 to 7 weeks in your life. For many of you, this energy is now. This is something that you have been experiencing, and this is just giving you synchronicities to this new beautiful energy that you have already been feeling in your life. But for some of you, you may need some more work choosing, because some people choose to grow through destruction and more demonic energies because deep down, as much as they can shower healing and light to others, they don't believe they deserve it themselves. So it's your choice how you want to heal. It's your choice how you want to grow. So let's see. The next card says, the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. I love it. And this is Walt Disney. I love it because Walt Disney, for me, gives a magical sense to it. And then you have two sort of cards talking about action. For some of you, it's like this initiation energy has been there, but it's been hard for you to take that step, right? So some people get so caught up in the plans. I'm going to plan to do this. Don't plan for movement, just move. Don't plan to start your diet, just start it. Don't plan when to start your workout routine, just start it. Don't plan when to start school, just start it, you know? Like, sometimes people get so caught up in the planning, and again, it's all about avoidance. Souls don't want to be uncomfortable. We want to stay in comfort. And a lot of people equate peace and serenity with comfort, and that's not always the case, right? Sometimes the biggest calm, just like a hurricane, a tornado, sometimes the biggest calm is right at the center of a storm. So either way, your ancestors are calling you to take action if you have been delaying something. For many of you, I feel like this just has to do how you feel about yourself, how you talk to yourself, how you love yourself, how you heal yourself. You cannot heal someone more than you have healed yourself. So even if you have healed yourself a lot and you're capable of spreading great healing to people, your ancestors are telling you to go deeper because there's more. Okay, they're telling me to pull the card from the messages from Spirit now, because this one's going to sort of summarize everything that I have been saying and give you more information about this action. Because for some of you, there may just be some kind of confusion. Oh, goodness. So there were 3 cards that came out, and it's interesting because I was just telling you, I feel like there were 3 separate things that you overcame. And then with this sunshine pointing to a really big new beginning. So I am going to take all 3 of these for you. So beautiful. This says you are not alone. You are absolutely not alone. But let me read this so it can come from Spirit. This says, dearest you, there are times... This says, dearest you, there are times you get lost but refuse to see your part in things. Happens to everyone. Something feels familiar but sort of off. If you're feeling confused, it's best to throw away that map you're using, which only lets you navigate based on your past experiences. This isn't what you need right now. Instead, take a deep breath and open to the truth. Wow, so many synchronicities in here already. A desire to stay in denial means that part of you doesn't want to be responsible for the pattern that's shown up in your life. Yes, this is the right time to wake up and start again. By the way, you will always get another chance. You have unlimited chances to start again. We love you so much. We really do. Be gentle with yourself. Coming out of denial is like being temporarily blinded by super bright lights. Allow your eyes to adjust. Carry on, special one. A beautiful life awaits. Loving you so, so much. How great is this, right? To summarize the energy of your reading, how great was the message in that? That's why I love pulling these postcards from Spirit's card live, because it just always does such a nice job of summarizing everything I said. Let's move on to your second one. So this one says, dear you, sometimes you just feel like no one understands you. You're not heard, or even that you don't count. This, my dear, is a terrible illusion. And although your feelings tell you that abandonment is real, well, we who love you know better. You are never alone. And even when rejection happens, you are ultimately being protected so better things can replace what you wouldn't have worked in the first place, what wouldn't have worked in the first place. That line is so, so important for you, pile number 3, as I'm going to read it again. You are never alone. And even when rejection happens, you are ultimately being protected so better things can replace what wouldn't have worked in the first place. Because I really do feel like many of you were holding on to things that didn't work work out in the first place, when in reality, they were never meant for your journey. They were never meant for your highest good. Okay, the next line says, everyone on this side of the veil is watching over you and rooting for your ultimate success. Life loves you, we love you, and you are a unique spark of the divine and always connected to the light and the source. You are always in our care. Trust and keep the faith. Love you always and forever. Beautiful. What beautiful messages your ancestors have for you, pile number 3s. All right, let's read the next one. Oh, did I see what was on the cover of this actually? Okay, it just said with love. This one says, you shine brightly. All right, let's see the final message from your ancestors. This says, dearest you, all your prayers are heard and mirrored back to you from the unseen realms. Be grateful, praise things before they manifest, and always ask for the highest good. When you plead and beg, that will only bring you more reasons to plead and beg. Instead, offer your prayers as sacred gifts, as a testament to your faith in a higher power. Open up and let spirit move through you and comfort you. Add meditation as a way to become empty so you will be ready to be fulfilled with inspired epiphanies, peace, and understanding and joy. In this moment, your prayers are being answered for the highest good of both you and all life. Sometimes what you pray for is not supposed to happen for you, and your prayers will be answered in surprising ways. At this moment, we are listening intently to your prayers and want you to know that your highest good is our priority. All is well. So some of you, a final message from your ancestors is there could have been some kind of fear in taking action, maybe some kind of fear of failure, stopping you from taking action. Right? Maybe some of you could have really prayed for something to work out in the past, but you saw how it wasn't for your highest good. So maybe some of you stopped trusting yourself. It goes into this honesty. Some of you may have been second guessed, people making it seem like your decisions for your life aren't good enough. So it's hard to take action when you feel like you're going to fail. The universe is telling you, your ancestors are telling you in this moment, you can't fail because everything that's happening for your life is happening for your highest good. Beautiful messages for you, pile number 3s, but that's actually all I have for your reading. Please do let me know in the comments below how this resonated with you, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.